Our friends from WhistlePig are joining us today on bourbonblog.com. It is Meghan Ireland and Mitch Mahar. You're joining us from the tasting room there in Shoreham, Vermont, right?
Yeah.
Sitting up here. It's a beautiful day on the farm. So it's nice 45 degrees outside.
Perfect. Right here to taste the Boss Hog number 11. It's the Juggernaut with us. We have a bottle I have not opened yet. I'm always, this is one of my favorite times of the year is to taste this with you all. And always one of the most exciting releases. This year, even more exciting because you took your travels all the way to India. Tell us about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was an awesome trip. We had kind of done some research ahead of time, and we're super excited about the flavors and the different aromatics really that like India had to offer from that standpoint, coming with saffron and cardamom and some of those big bold flavors. So heading over there and getting to go to the spice market and truly understand the different taste profiles and spices available was an awesome experience.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, that spice market was absolutely incredible. Like walking down that street is like the richness of smells and just like how, for lack of a better term, it just makes you, it really increases your appetite for everything that is around you. Everything smells great. And you just want to like take a nibble of everything and smell every single bucket of spices, every single sack. Like it's amazing.
And again, you were there during the Holy Festival. And by the way, as I open this, and this is such a beautiful pewter topper. What do we have on top here? This is your famous pig that's doing what?
Our famous pig. So this year it is based off the elephants that participate in the Holy Festival.
Yeah.
And they will get kind of like the powdered color painted on them in flowers and in different patterns. So the pig this year is dressed up with those patterns. Kind of carved into them, and hidden within those, which I think is kind of really cool, is each of the 7 spices that we used within Boss Hog. So they're kind of all hidden on the pig in small little ways. Yeah.
So all the spices are right here on the pig, but they're so small. What are the? There's actually spices. Let's and again, it's a Thandai, or we've heard it pronounced in different ways. How have you all heard it pronounced?
I've heard Thandai. I've heard Thandai. I think it really depends on where in India you're asking it to be pronounced. I mean, regardless, I think it's delicious.
Yeah,
I'm nosing this. Megan, I'm smelling these beautiful aromatics. This is what did you all do to really put this famous beverage onto the whiskey?
Yeah, so
here, you take it.
So we ended up seasoning in a barrel. So we took the spices that are used in the original Thandai drink, took those 7 spices, or 7 spices for us at least. There are some variations in exactly how it can be made depending on where you're getting it from. And seasoned a barrel with some 4-year-old whiskey and those spices. So allowing that to really get into the wood. And then we took those out of the barrel and then put our whiskey in, our Boss Hog whiskey in to pull those flavors in.
So it's really the first ever Thandai spiced or seasoned with a spice barrel that has ever finished a whiskey, as far as we know, in the history.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, best I can tell. I mean, perhaps they've done it first in India, but we were the first to do it in Shoreham, Vermont.
First to do it right there in Shoreham. I mean, the nose on this is just, and again, we're going to say this is 13-year-old plus WhistlePig whiskey that has been fully aged in the first New American barrel. It gets emptied into that Thandai barrel and how long is it in that barrel? How long does it rest in that barrel?
So our average resting time was somewhere between 6 to 8 weeks.
6 to 8.
But it's sort of a broad average time because we do this by barrel. So like as opposed to going by a calendar, be like, oh yeah, no, it's been 3 weeks. Let's take everything out. We really wanted to make sure that like we nailed all those aromatics per barrel.
Right.
And so, if we felt that a barrel needed more than 6 weeks, we needed more than 7 weeks, we let it continue on to really make sure that like we were getting the most out of every barrel in that lot.
The flavor it's so wildly distinct. I mean, it's so rich with the rye, the age, just the beautiful old WhistlePig whiskey that we love. Being an age that typically exceeds a lot of your whiskeys. Doesn't quite get to the 15-year-old mark, which we love as well, but it's an older rye. We know it's a beautiful old rye, and then it goes into these beautiful aromatics, these spices, and it's huge. It's a huge flavor.
Mm-hmm.
It's bold. It has a linger, but it doesn't have just so much of a in your face note that it feels like it lingers too long. It's just a really good finish and just really well balanced.
You are just saying everything that we want to hear. That literally every single target that we aimed for in creating Boss Hog just nailed it.
I think for us, that was one of the biggest challenges this year is these spices that were included were like big, bold spices.
Right.
And so making sure that none took over and really controlled the flavor, right? We wanted it to be balanced. We wanted you to really dig in and be able to find each of those unique spices and flavors and have that rye whiskey still pull through as well.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like that's always the trick with Boss Hog, is really showcasing a very unique flavor profile that you can't get anywhere else in the whiskey world. But at no point are you forgetting that it's rye whiskey, right?
It's right.
It's a bit of a balancing act that we always do every year.
It certainly is. And truly, I do get those notes. I mean, they can be picked apart. You can really dive in and say, I get that. I understand it. But I also can go back to the rye and the linger. There's a warmth in the palate, and it's not so big, but it's warm. I mean, this is very warming. Partially is the proof, but partially the spice. And you kind of ask yourself, is it more the proof, the spice? It's a bit of both, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, we wanted that to sort of like heighten the overall experience, right? And like we really enjoy when you can't just be like cut and paste, like, oh, that is that, oh, that is that. Like, if you can do that, then we're not doing our job as blenders very well.
Well, I have to ask, again, you've gone around the globe. I mean, with these, you've done Asian inspired. You had the Magellan's Atlantic, of course, the rum, the rum finish. I mean, I think of so many, and I've been so lucky the last now 11 years to taste each one of them, to report on each. I remember when it first came out, and now you've gone so many places with the innovation. What does it take to really sit down and think about what's a Boss Hog we could do? I mean, what was on the chalkboard in addition to India? Or did you just say we want to do India? Was there something that inspired this?
So we're always looking like a couple years out, right? And we're always thinking about this ahead of time. We've got a list kind of that are really interesting to us and that we're continuing to develop and look at and experiment with. Maybe some of those weren't quite ready to be Boss Hog this year, where the Indian flavor and the Thandai drink really was Boss Hog level and ready to go. And some of these other ones that we're still kind of looking at and trying to continue to elevate and continue to push and get to what is Boss Hog level for us.
Yeah.
Incredible. And truly, Indian and Pakistani food, those cuisines are some of my very favorites in the world. So, having been to a number of restaurants and having my father-in-law is actually Pakistani, having him cook for me and, having the family around, knowing some of those spices. I mean, you can really get it in the air, and it is in many ways in this Boss Hog Juggernaut. And it's so rich. It's so deep. I'm curious with what you all experienced there as far as the Indian cuisine. What was your favorite dish you had? Maybe what would you pair with this if you were going to pair what you had there with this?
I mean, it sounds silly. I mean, we had so much
good food.
But I still sort of fell back on some of my favorites, not because like it was the easy answer, but because like it was so much better over there, like
India.
Even naan, right? Like,
Yeah.
and naan is like, it's an Indian staple. Like, it's very simple. Like, you can get it anywhere you can get Indian food in the United States, but over there, it's a totally different experience. And so, like, it just really opens your eyes to the cuisine, and then like getting the real ingredients where they're from. Like, it was spectacular.
It's
I mean,
the
I don't know
real
if I
deal.
could pick one thing and be like, oh, this was the one definitive dish, but so much good food over there.
Right. Did you have a favorite one, Megan? Did you have a favorite?
I can't pick.
I don't know. There's a lot. I feel like a staple just everywhere we went. The tandoori chicken was like
Tandoori is
delicious.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's so good. And everybody does tandoori chicken just like a little bit different. So every place we went was like I don't know. That was like my favorite, my staple while we were over there. I think.
Yeah. What's your favorite Indian dish? What dish would you pair with Boss Hog? Let's put you in the hot seat.
Oh, I like that. I like that. You know, I really am a big fan of. It's simple, but I love samosas.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of samosas. I like a lot of the desserts as well, like the gulab jamun. And there's so many just great curries. I'm trying to think of a few of my favorites, but like you said, the chicken tandoori is beautiful, and just, you know, I just really get that all the way through, and it just feels like this magical elixir that you would be served in in the finest Indian cuisine establishment, and you would be like, this is so amazing. And I even get that creaminess. I do get a bit of creaminess towards the middle of this. What do you think? Where's that coming from, you think?
So I think that's honestly just barrel character more so than anything else. Because, you know, although we wanted to try to create balance, none of the spices that we had utilized were really giving you creaminess. So like that is just like perceived barrel sort of like sugars and impact.
That sugar and impact. Yeah, there's a creaminess there that's so beautiful. All these are single barrels. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
So the proof may vary between, is around 107, or what is the
Yeah, so it ranges right around in there. I think 104.8 was like our lowest or something like that, up to like 108, kind of in that range.
108 something, yes.
Yep. So I think that was our range for this year, single barrels.
All single barrels. And again, the spices, tell us all the spices once again that our friends holding here that are in this.
Okay, so let's go back and forth there. Cardamom.
Saffron.
Cinnamon.
Poppy seeds.
Fennel. What are we forgetting?
Black pepper.
Black pepper. And
Think about it.
I did not study for this test.
Hey, rye whiskey's a spice in itself. No, it's hey, it's whatever it is. It's amazing.
This is good. On this. I keep wanting to say fennel, even though I already said it. Oh, I feel real silly right now, but
no, it's okay. I mean, we're allowed to.
You have to buy Boss Hog to see what the seventh one is.
Boss Hog, after all. This is always a lot of fun and always something new with Boss Hog. And there's been a lot of great innovation you all have been doing there. I know we've been seeing more and more of the single malts that have released.
Yep.
Yeah, those were a ton of fun to make as well. So our 21 and 25-year-old, so really high age for being a North American single malt. And then with our 25 that we just released this year, I actually got to go out to Napa and work with Silver Oak's head winemaker to pick out the specific barrels that we were going to use, which was another awesome experience, and ended up giving us great flavor profile.
Incredible. Yeah, they do such an incredible wine there. And you finished, how old was it that you finished in that barrel?
25-year-old.
25-year-old. So beautiful. And I've been seeing those, they're very limited, but I've been seeing them. And you're going to be doing at some point some younger ones as well, or you have done a few younger ones?
So we've released some single malt that we have distilled here on the farm itself. So that's a 4-year-old. And it goes through our Beyond Bonded program. So really excited to get that out in the world. It was released last year for the first time with only about 3 barrels, so really small volume, but really excited to continue to expand outside of the world of rye. I think it's fun for me and Mitch to sometimes branch out a little bit. We love rye. Always will have a special place in our heart, but it's fun to get out and experiment in some of the other whiskeys for sure.
Yeah, the whiskey family tree is pretty big, and we don't need to only spend our time in a singular branch.
And bourbons. I know you've worked on some bourbons. Any other new bourbons coming up?
So perhaps I'm not going to say that, there are people over my shoulder who are making sure that I don't say things, but I think you should stay tuned, and I think you'll be interested in what you see.
Are they actually back there behind the bar? They're hiding out.
They're hiding. They're peeking their head up.
Yeah. You can come out now. The very best. The tasting room. Hey, I didn't remember this. I wanted to make sure I brought this up on Bourbon Blog, by the way. Okay, so we have saffron.
Yes.
Cinnamon. This is a number of spices. Cardamom.
Saffron, cinnamon, cardamom. Yes.
nutmeg.
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 That's what we were
There it
missing.
is.
I
That's
think
what
fennel,
made-
poppy, and peppercorn, black pepper.
Yes. Thank you. Yeah.
No, it's okay. It's okay, and we can even
We needed the trifecta. We needed all three of us to apply ourselves to this.
we can even I can even re-ask it, and we can try to edit it if you want me to.
No. Let's keep this. Let's keep this on.
It's kind of fun to try to remember these. Now, even if I had to remember them all, I don't know if I could. I just can taste them, and they're beautiful. When it comes to seasoning a barrel with all those, how do you season? I know you said you had some of your whiskey, but how do you season a barrel to get that to stick into a barrel just right?
Well, so we do a lot of R&D on the back end, right? Like we didn't just come up with this idea, do a single pass at it, and do whatever.
Sure.
Like we wanted to make sure that
we have some great experience. I know.
We wanted to make sure that we could actually build out this conditioning liquid used to season this barrel that would actually give us the flavor impact that we wanted. So in terms of like how we sort of like designed our Thandai, like it's not a cut and paste from like what you would actually make as like the sort of traditional milk tea into this. I sort of had to tweak it so that way you can taste more of those traditional notes on the whiskey end, as opposed to just having a conditioning liquid that would taste like Thandai. So, I mean, a lot of R&D, a lot of trial and error, but gotta love doing what you do to make whiskey, right?
Of course. And so, really, what you're doing is you're taking those spices with your own creative recipe that isn't inspired by the original Thandai, and you're really soaking it in the barrel, in wood, in whiskey, and you're letting it rest, and you're really seasoning that barrel to get those to stick.
Yeah, exactly.
That's beautiful. This is just such a beautiful creation, you all. It's always a pleasure to try these, just to see just how much more innovation you put on it each year. The beautiful stories behind the Boss Hog, people love them. And again, fairly limited. Do we know how many of these are going out? It's okay if we don't.
Yeah, it's about 7,000 3-pack cases.
7,000. I'm even on the end. I mean, the more I sip this, because there are so many flavors to dissect, but I'm even getting this lovely, like, just bright honey note on the end of this too. You get that as well?
Yeah. Yes, definitely.
Lovely.
Some of the sweetness and.
What else do you all get when you taste this and you were like, here's our creation. This is the final product. What were you tasting, and what got you excited once you tasted it completely?
Well, so once again, so these are all single barrels, right? So right. I have the benefit of being able to go through each and every one of the barrels as they're finishing to make sure they hit their time. And Meghan has also had these samples with me, but there was one barrel in particular. And I don't know if it's just like where my brain was going because I was already thinking of India.
I was like, are you about to throw out a barrel number and make it really?
No. I'm not about to throw out a barrel number. Hunt for it as you please. But I swear it had like a really soft, like similar to the honey note in terms of placement on the palate, but it was mango. Like it had this really soft, like almost like mango meets honeysuckle, like a very, very light sort of flavor profile. But yeah, that was one particular barrel that was nuanced, and I had to stop myself from just, making that barrel disappear, and then all of a sudden I have an entire barrel to myself.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think my favorite part is that every time I take a sip, I'm like continuing to discover.
Right.
So complex that your first sip, you're finding different things and different notes than in your second and third.
Sure.
And especially as it opens up too, as it continues to sit out and kind of those aromatics. Yeah, I think that's my favorite part about this one is just the levels of flavor.
Yeah,
it just keeps going and going, and that's one of the things, Meghan, that I've people have often asked me, what are some of your favorite whiskeys, and the ones I'm often drawn to the most are the ones that every time I go back, I have a new experience. There are those layers, there are those subtleties, and you said mango, Mitch. I do get a little of that mango against the honey, and hitting that creamy, and then at the end you can really just feel that, and I'm feeling it more and more on my tongue now. I mean, it has a beautiful linger, but it doesn't stick so hard to your tongue that you just think it's too big, but it's there, and it's so beautiful, and I can't wait to try this with some Indian cuisine. I think there's so many spices that could go with this, probably even some beautiful cheeses that could work too. I mean, this is just so spiced, so lovely.
Yeah.
Any other favorites you would recommend doing it with besides just a glass? Obviously, any others that you've tried it with?
Friends.
Friends.
I mean, it's one of those whiskeys that, like, if you sip it by yourself, not that you can't enjoy it, but like when you are actually like talking to someone about it, like I feel like you get more from it because then you're like, oh, I taste this. Oh, do you taste this? It's like, oh man, hang on. Oh, is that the cardamom I'm tasting? Like that, I do really enjoy that aspect of it.
Friends are a good pairing, and some of our favorite friends in the business are our friends from WhistlePig. And again, you all are so talented, so amazing. We love what you do every year because you put so much into all of your whiskeys, especially the Boss Hog, taking it places it's never been before. That's one of the rules. Tell us I know there's rules to the Boss Hog, but tell us what they are. You never do it twice.
Never do it twice. Always single barrel. Always at proof. Never, like anything you've tasted before will always be different.
I'm trying to remember because they added 5 more for 10.
Oh, that's okay. It's
I was like, they threw another 5 in on us. Basically, it sums up to those kind of main.
It's those, and it has to be incredible, and it definitely is. Once again, the Boss Hog Juggernaut rye whiskey finished in Thandai barrels. Thank you all so much, Mitch and Meghan, for taking some time from the farm to join us on bourbonblog.com today.
Always a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure too. Pleasure to see you all here. They're recently in Vermont, and we'll come back again soon.
Good. Please do.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you all. Cheers. Thanks.